My roommate's entitled girlfriend dumped poop onto my bed. I went ahead and returned the favor. When she got her present, she went ballistic and I have been living in my 2-bedroom apartment for 3 years now. Recently my old roommate moved out and I got a new one 3 months ago. The guy seemed chill and kept to himself, which I didn't mind. The biggest problem is his entitled girlfriend that is over all the time. At first she just kept to his room, but then she walked around the house wearing only his shirt and underwear, cooked food that I bought, and smoked all the time. All of which makes me uncomfortable, and I've told my roommate as much. He says he can't control what she wears and if she smokes, as it is her body, her choice. I said, well, it's my apartment, my rules. I even told her myself after he said he tried to talk to her. She said she understood, and I haven't seen her underdressed since. I can still smell her smoking, but at least it's only in my roommate's room. Now something you should know is that my roommate has a cat, and I have a dog, specifically a lab. My dog is very well trained, and gets along well with other animals, including his cat. I walk him at least twice a day and he hasn't had an accident inside since I first got him 5 years ago. My roommate's cat, on the other hand, has gone outside of its litter box a few times, usually only when my roommate doesn't clean out the poor thing's litter box. So I don't really blame it, and it isn't a big problem for me since it has only been on my roommate's things. Last week is when things got really heated. I was in my room watching TV, when the girlfriend knocked on my door. I asked what was up, and she told me my dog had pooped in the apartment and I needed to go clean it up. I didn't really believe her, but followed her to where it was, right on top of a dirty clothes basket, filled clearly with women's clothing, were a few small turds. I told her that was her boyfriend's cat, and my dog physically couldn't have done this. She told me clearly he did, and I had to clean it up. I told her, if my dog somehow managed to get himself inside the laundry basket, not tip it over, take a poop inside, and get out no problem, then the turds would be much bigger. This was clearly a cat. I walked away back to my room and she followed me. She started insisting that I owed her money for her ruined clothes and I had to come back and clean it all up. I told her to F off and leave me alone. When I went to close my bedroom door on her, she shoved her entire body in the way to block it. I asked if she was crazy, and holy poop did this girl go off. She started screaming at me about how bad of a roommate I am for allowing my dog to shed everywhere, that I took too long using the washer and dryer, that I only ever cooked enough for myself and no one else. I was dumbfounded. I tried to close the door again, but she started shrieking that she'd call the police on me for hurting her. I did not want to deal with all this, so I texted my roommate to come home and get his crazy girlfriend. Then I turned on the TV in my room, and put it at max volume to drown her out. The girl kept going for about 15 minutes, then finally walked away. I sighed and hoped that was the end of it. But nope. She came right back inside my room with the laundry basket, and dumped it onto my bed, poop and all. I yelled at her to clean it up, and that she was crossing so many boundaries. She said it was my responsibility to clean it up in the first place. She just made sure I was acting responsibly for once. She then grabbed her purse and left the apartment. When my roommate finally got back, I told him everything that had happened and he said, he knew. His girlfriend had already told him. He gave me the cold shoulder and walked away. I went after him, telling him his girlfriend wasn't allowed over anymore, and he needed to start taking better care of his cat's litter box so this doesn't happen again. He got in my face, telling me that he didn't have to listen to me, that he paid just as much rent as me, and was entitled to have whomever he wants over. He also mentioned he knew there was a weight limit for our apartment complex, and that my dog had long since gone over that limit. So if his girlfriend couldn't come over anymore, he'd get me kicked out for my dog. He was right, so I stopped arguing with him. His girlfriend stayed away for about 3 days, before she came over again. I decided maybe it would be best if I taught her exactly what the difference is between cat and dog poop. So when I took my dog for a walk that morning, I brought the poop bag home with me. Then I laid down some newspaper in front of my roommate's door, and dumped the poop right on top of it. I set up a camera. I had to record the entire thing as well, just for an extra bit of fun. 10 minutes later I hear her screaming at the top of her lungs, and then a thud. I went out to investigate and found that not only did she step in it, she slipped and fell right on top of it. Her entire back was covered. She hadn't noticed me yet, and I didn't want her to, so I snuck back into my room and burst out laughing. I heard her wailing like a child for a few minutes, then cursing like crazy as she made her way to the bathroom. She was in there for a while, and when she finally got out she started banging on my door like crazy. I had it locked, and just ignored her. I heard a few large crashes and thuds, but thought it would be best if I stayed in my room completely. When I heard her leave the apartment, I went into the living room, only to find the entire place trashed. She broke a vase of mine, smashed my Xbox, knocked the trash can over, and tipped over furniture. The pile of poop was also still in front of my roommate's door, and she had placed some of the silverware and cups on top of it. It was disgusting. Then I remembered my camera, and checked on it. Not only did she not find it, and it was still recording, but it caught her entire tantrum, from slipping in the poop, to destroying the living room, and my belongings. I want to send the video to my roommate and ask for a reimbursement for my stuff, but I'm worried about how he'll respond. I just don't know what I should do next, that won't come back to bite me in the butt.